All right, peace everyone. Just checking in. Right now it's 8 o'clock. Peace everyone, peace everyone, peace everyone. I'll give everyone a second to get in here and let me know if you can hear me. Just making sure that people can hear me. What's up? This is Beyond Breaking Barriers, the show about women in hip hop. We're gonna talk about the book again, Women Rappin Revolution. If you can hear me, put maybe a thumbs up or a heart in the chat. Just checking if folks can hear me or not. Want to make sure that y'all can hear me. My name is Piper Carter, and I'm the host of Beyond Breaking Barriers, which is the podcast about women in hip hop. So, can y'all hear me? Just making sure y'all can hear me, and so I can continue. And welcome, 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 welcome everybody. Welcome to Beyond Breaking Barriers here on Black Power Media. Just in case. Okay, awesome. Thank you. What's up, Julie? Just in case folks are new here, this is Beyond Breaking Barriers. It's the podcast about women in hip hop here on Black Power Media. So I want to make sure that y'all come in, subscribe, click that bell for the notifications. If you are not already, please join the Patreon. It should be in the description. If you don't have the book, go to the description and get the book because we're going to be discussing this book, Women Rappin Revolution. It's a story about how I don't want to say created a women in hip hop movement in Detroit because that sounds kind of arrogant, but kind of sort of something like that. How we contributed, right, to the landscape and the ecosystem of hip hop centering women. Maybe that's a little bit more accurate and less egotistical sounding. So yeah, we're in here this evening. I'm giving folks just another minute. I'm gonna wait just another like one more minute. If you don't know, my name's Piper Carter. I'm the host here, Beyond Breaking Barriers on Black Power Media, which is every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to like, share, and subscribe. I also put it on Twitter. I also put it on somehow the Facebook isn't connected, so I'll make sure to do that next week. But we're definitely on YouTube, and yeah, go over to the Patreon and consider becoming a member on the Black Power Media Patreon. So that's what's up. What's up, Henry? Peace to everybody that's joined us. So without further ado, I'll start to tell you all. I hope everyone's week has been great. If your week's been anywhere from meh to awesome, put your fist up in the chat. If it was like meh to like, like, I don't know, maybe put like a sunshine in the chat because you need some sunshine. Okay, yeah. But so my week was actually great. As y'all know, Saturday was the equinox, so it was a lot of energy on that day, powerful day for the equinox. And so we had an event. It was called I'm the Rapper, She's the DJ. If you were here in Detroit, hopefully you made it out. But guess what? So I'm a part of another podcast family that's here in Detroit. It's called Detroit is Different Podcast Network. Shouts out to Kari Frazier. And I have another podcast on Tuesdays at 8, Piper Carter podcast. That's where I talk about like kind of more like environmental justice or all types of issues. But here on Mondays on Black Power Media at 8, I talk about women in hip hop specifically. So we had an event, and it was part of the Detroit is Different festival to celebrate the podcast platform. And so there was a comedy show featuring Josh Adams on Friday evening. There was a natural hair show on Saturday evening. And shouts out to all the salons that came out for the natural hair show. It was amazing. Beautiful, great models, everything. We'll be posting everything so y'all can see, all the great natural hairstyles and stuff. And then there was a tribute to Nefertiti. So shouts out to Nefertiti. Nefertiti is a pioneer in the natural hair game here in Detroit. As y'all know, Detroit is known for hair culture. There's a show that went on for years called Hair Wars. It's like a whole thing around hair shows and like theatrics here in Detroit. It's a big, huge thing, culturally. And so for the natural hair movement, that's is becoming like more of a thing. And so we've been doing the natural hair show for a few years now, and it's a really beautiful event. But within that, we did I'm the rapper, she's the DJ. It was our third installment, and basically it's women MCs and a woman DJ, and it's an all women show. We had in Detroit, we have an indigenous dance here. It's called the JIT. And if you're from Detroit or you know anything about Detroit, it's like a fast footwork movement type of dance. It's a hip hop style dance. They do it to techno and ghetto tech nowadays. Back in the days, we used to do it to like funk music, and it used to be part of like popping and locking culture. And then like JIT was the footwork part. But it's got a revival with young people, and I'm very excited about that. I love to JIT. It's funny. But shouts out to Gabby, who came out in JIT for the Detroit JIT, and is also part of Hardcore Detroit, which is a dance crew here, b-boy dance crew here. So shouts out to her. She came out, performed. It was amazing. Neek Love Rhodes, who hosted, who's also a part of Decipher, that's here in Detroit. They do a lot of events with live music. But she also used to be part of the foundation, which was my open mic that I told y'all about, the No Misogyny open mic and the crew, whatever. So she does her own events now, and but she hosted, so that was awesome. And then Abstract Jazz performed. Who else? P Dot was dope. She performed. Boog Brown performed, and I'm missing a couple of people that I'm gonna have to look up. But it was awesome. The set was beautiful. Shouts out to Lumumba, Lumba Studios, who did all the set design, lighting, and everything, staging, sound. It sounded great. It looked great. It looked amazing, y'all. It looked like top tier production, and it was top tier production. So very excited about that. So now y'all know where to come if you want a top tier production produced by all Black crew. Holla at your girl so you can get the high quality production value. But like I said, we'll be posting it, and I'll share it with y'all when it does post. So we did that, and it was really beautiful. And so I took pictures. I don't know if y'all know, I may have said it, but I'm not sure if I've said it. My actual like career background, I'm actually a photographer. I'm actually a fashion photographer. And that was what I did in New York City. I don't know, almost 2 decades. And so yeah, like so-called high-end fashion photographer. So that's basically what I did. So I haven't done that in a long time. But I've been kind of sort of doing it on and off, but I was mostly doing all this music stuff, and really taking care of my mom was really what I was doing. And then started doing this music stuff and the arts and blah, 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 but a music and event production. And I still do all that. And I was taking the photos for the whole thing. So I took pictures of all the MCs and everything, and did some really great photos, had it set up, and more studio kind of set up, very simple, but did some nice photos for them. And then did some nice photos for all the models and stylists for the hair show. So those pictures will come out as well. So we're a complete production team and studio if y'all want that. Hey, who else did I miss? Y'all know I keep telling you I gotta put these glasses on. All right. Okay, how do you say that? Kajsakuma, or is it Kajsakuma, or is it KJ Sakuma, or is it KJS Akuma? I'm not sure. Maybe put the phonetic spelling in the chat so I say your name properly, and I apologize if I'm messing it up. So I got to catch a clip of the live. Ironically, I was just listening to a clip of Rhapsody's recent single. Yeah, so oh, y'all know what? Okay, to promote the shows, one thing we were doing was going to these universities, right? So we went to Wayne State University. We went to U of M. We also had Grand Valley. And so we were presenting on like the history of women in hip hop. Well, the whole month, Kari's been going and presenting on hip hop. And then I came in and presented on some history of women in hip hop. And then we promoted, the event. We had talk. It was really cool. And so got to connect with some of the students. And what's really cool? Two of these students came up to me and were like, "Oh my God, I had such a good time." So some of the students came and bought tickets and came to the show, and they had a great time and were like, "We're gonna go see No Name. Can we buy you a ticket to see No Name?" I'm like, okay. So they said they're gonna buy me a ticket to see No Name when No Name comes to Detroit. I think she's coming like soon. I don't know, in a week or two or something. So I really wanted to go to the Lauryn Hill show for y'all, but I was so busy. I did go to Philly, and I was supposed to go in Philly because she didn't come to Detroit. And I was supposed to go in Philly, but I ended up not being able to go because I had so much other work to do. And so please forgive me, but I was really, really busy, and I got my work done, but I missed all the Lauryn Hill shows because I was doing other mad work. So I don't know. I'll figure it out. But these kids bought me a ticket to see No Name, so I'm gonna be seeing No Name. So everything works out. So I'll be able to tell you all about that, and I'll be able to go with these young people who are like half my age, and so that'll be interesting. Yeah. So what else has been going on? I don't know. So much has been going on. I went to the Palestinian rally on in March on Saturday here in Detroit. I want to say about maybe, I don't know, maybe 20 plus thousand people came, and I'm glad folks showed up. It was such a beautiful energy. It was so amazing. And I did not know that Detroit has as many Palestinians as we do. We have a huge population of Palestinians. So it was really beautiful to see like all these people coming out, in solidarity and standing up. So just sending so much more energy and love to all our Palestinian family, wherever you are. Yeah. And also too, in this moment, it's so much going on in the Congo. You know what I'm saying? And it's genocide going on in Congo, you know what I'm saying? And genocide going on in Sudan. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of stuff is ongoing. And so man, I'm sending so much energy, right, to Haiti and, just everybody fighting, you know what I'm saying? And trying to kick the colonizer out like everywhere. Uh it's a lot, man. I'm working on striving to get these Palestinian hip hop artists on here, these young ladies, to interview them. So I've been sending emails out. So hopefully we can get them on here and then have some conversations with them, for whatever they want to talk about. Okay, so that's Yama, right? What's up, Yama? Am I saying your name right? Because every week I come on here and I'm like, Ingon. And I'm like, Ing Onya Mama or Yama. But can you write in there phonetically so I say it properly? Because I'm like, I just want to say it properly because you're so, you know what I'm saying? You're so supportive. And I think, I didn't get a chance to meet you yet. Bless up, so we should think about that, right? Like, I feel like we need to do like Black Power Media meetups. I feel like that would be so cool. I'm gonna talk to the crew and see like can we do like Black Power Media meetups? Like maybe we can do them regionally, right? So if you're in the Midwest, you do the meetup, or if you're in like the South, or if you're in like the Southwest or the West Coast. I don't know, is that too much? I was thinking like where people could drive to, for the meetup, like driving distance. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe there'd be like an annual like Black Power Media conference. I feel like that'd be cool. Or maybe Anyway, I won't speak before I speak, but yeah, I think that would be cool to have a Black Power Media conference so we could all meet up. That would be so cool. And maybe we could connect by region and see how to support each other regionally or something. I don't know. I'm in all these other formations, and that's what we've been doing. We've been doing like these regional meetups. Well, I know for sure that I could set up something in the Midwest, and I'm willing to host it here in Detroit, but I'm also willing to go to Indiana, Ohio, Illinois. Shoot. Is Pittsburgh the Midwest? Because like people tell me Pittsburgh's the Midwest and they tell me Albany's the Midwest. But then when sometimes I go to stuff, sometimes Albany's in the Midwest and sometimes Pittsburgh's in the Midwest. But then sometimes the Pittsburgh people go to the East Coast and so do the Albany people. Anyway, y'all tell me what y'all think. Also, too, is Kentucky in the Midwest? Because I always thought Kentucky was the South. But some of these Kentucky people are telling me they're in the Midwest. And I'm like, I don't know about that. But they're maybe it depends, right? Like where you are within a state, not too sure. We definitely, oh yeah, I could definitely come to NYC too. I have an apartment in Harlem. I have a Harlem apartment. So when I come to New York, I can come check y'all. I got people still in EO, that's East Orange. So I can go to Jersey. You know what I'm saying? So I still got family, cousins in East Orange. And I got cousins in where? In South Orange too. No, West Orange. I got cousins in West Orange. And so we could do Jersey or New York, right? We could do Philly, right? Because I know some folks now in Philly now. Where else could we do? We could do Rhode Island, right? We could do Roxbury in Boston or Dorchester. We could do I'm just trying to think of all places where I know people. Well, definitely ATL, because that's where a lot of the BPM people are already in ATL. We got folks in Tennessee. We got folks in where else we have folks? Definitely Texas. I think Dallas and Fort Worth and Albuquerque. There's folks in definitely LA, because Thanda Ziswe is in LA, right? And where else? Oakland, right? And there's Black folks are still in San Francisco. Don't count them out. Where else? Where else, y'all? Shout y'all cities out. You know what I'm saying in the chat where we need to. Oh, the Brick City? You talking about Jersey City? Maybe so. Do I still have people in Jersey City? I don't know. Do y'all got people in Jersey City? Because we could definitely do Jersey City. Let's see. Let me go back here and do what okay. So it's Ingo Yama. Ingo Mama. Ingo Mama. Ingo Mama. Ingo Mama. Am I saying that properly, or do I sound like not like I should sound? All right. And then the Jamon, and then what's up? And then who's SP said agreed. Peace to Anthony, and KJS Akuma phonetically. KJS Akuma. Okay. Right. Yeah. It said that's why BPM will be cold. Pittsburgh is a rust belt. That's why people do that. Okay. Nice parts of Jersey. Right. Rahway and the bricks. Yeah. So let's work on that, y'all. So we're all together. Let's work. We gotta do some meetups. Cause like I feel like the digital space is a thing and it's awesome. And it's different to like meet people in person because those connections. Cause like I've been part of all these, just sidebar, I'm a part of all these different coalitions and alliances and blah, 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 like national ones, international ones. I'm sure you all are too. And I do a lot of work in the like environmental justice space, the climate justice space, the farming space, the food space. You know, we got a co-op, you know, we're doing a co-op, a grocery store, arts and culture, hip hop. So all of this activism, right? And so, anywho, the Rudy Tute, it's like, I don't know, like 99.9% of my like relationships are online. interestingly enough, I do have friends, like they're my real friends, that I've never met since the AOL days. Like I have a nice number of friends that we're actually like real friends. I never seen their whole face like ever, like off of the screen, because we've been friends since 97, like when I was on AOL. Remember the AOL? Then you had the chat rooms, and then you had the AIM, and then I've had friends from Black Planet, and then I've had friends from like the original Facebook. Well, no, it was MySpace, right? No, before all of that, it was Friendster. So I got like one friend that I still have from Friendster. And yeah, then all those, and then my original Facebook friends, because I was on Facebook since before you could get on Facebook, like when it was like you had to be in college to get on Facebook. And then so I'd gone back to college anyway, it's the whole thing. And then but anyway, I have all these social friends. Like some of them are on Twitter. And now y'all on YouTube, right? Like I mean, we're not necessarily like friends, but y'all are friendly. We're friendly. So I just think that what Black Power Media is building, and what y'all bring to it is so special. I think that the Black Power Media chat is so incredible because y'all are loyal, y'all are very in tune to what's going on, y'all have amazing values, y'all will be transparent, like y'all are just amazing. BPM chat, y'all are incredible. Y'all are the best chat I've ever seen. People talk junk about chats or whatever. And maybe because I mean, fortunately, y'all haven't jumped on me, so maybe I'm prematurely talking, but y'all haven't jumped on me. But people talk about chats or whatever. I guess like for me, when I see people doing dumb stuff in the chat, um, forgive me, but I just take them out. I'm like, you don't belong here. But I don't mean to censor, but I also am like, I don't know, I'm like an energy person, and it's like if you're in the chat and then you see somebody saying some, nasty stuff in the chat, it makes you not want to like be. I don't know. For me, it's like, oh, I don't want to read that. I don't want to see that. Like, I don't want to be here. It's almost like if a person is there and they got a bad attitude, it's like, go home. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So y'all are so amazing. I try to get them out of here. I know some people are like, let them, live. But I'm like, no, you can't live here. You got to go. I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? I won't do it. Let's say that. I won't say what I can't do about what I won't do. What you won't do. Let's see what we got. Okay, what's up, Warren? Warren said we got to go to Cleveland. The Jamon said we got to go to Newark. And Yama said we got to go to wait, are you talking about Jersey City when you say the bricks? I just want to be clear. All right, you said North Burlington County. What's up, Sweary? Where is North? I don't know where Burlington County is. That like where the Burlington Coat Factory is from? Where else? Let's see. In the South. Okay, what's up, Corey T? All right, boom. Yeah, BPM chat is pretty solid. Y'all are pretty solid. So yeah, I was just telling folks about my week. Y'all can rewind if you want to hear about the week. But long story short, we had a great event. I'm the rapper, she's the DJ. It was in Detroit. It happened this Saturday. I was just shouting out, it was wonderful production quality. It was amazing. Like our production quality, y'all. To be honest, Brick City is Newark. Okay, thank you. So our production quality, I'll say it was on the level of like maybe I won't say the Oscars. I'll say at least BET. We'll give BET a run for their money. You know what I'm saying? So we got nice production quality going on now. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of lighting. We got the cameras. We got the red camera, baby. We got all the lenses. We got set design. We did stuff simple. We didn't even use all types of, money on sets. We did it real simple. You know what I'm saying? Just like drape fabric and put some color. It was awesome. We got the color lights to shoot up. Can't wait to show y'all. It was beautiful. But Yeah, so any hootie Rudy Tootie, put it in the atmosphere. 2024, we need to think about doing some regional BPM meetups so that we can like strengthen our relationships and create these hubs. I don't know if y'all do I'm gonna share the event link. We didn't like post it yet. We recorded. We were gonna do a live stream, but then y'all know how live stream is. So we were like, let's just record it and then we'll put it up and then we won't have no glitches. But so what was I saying? Oh yeah. So wait, what was I saying before I said that? I got a little distracted. Anyway, I'll just keep it moving with the book. But I was about to say something about I don't know. I got distracted, y'all. Let's go to the book. So, all right. So the book, Rappin Revolution. I was thinking this is like episode 5 for the book. Oh, a reminder on November the 9th, I'm gonna be having a discussion at noon with Dr. Jared Ball, and I guess I'm gonna ask him to make a event thing so y'all can remember, like, you know, to click the thing and remember to show up, and so he doesn't do another show forget about me. But anyway, I know what I was saying. I was just saying that we had the I'm the Rapper, She's the DJ was really dope. We had all these different MCs, and we had shouts out to legendary Jay Hearns. She DJ'd. It was a beautiful event. It looked beautiful. Production quality was top notch. I'll have the link up soon. It was a great event. We had like all the generations, not all, but many, from Gen X all the way to like, what is it, Gen Z. So very cool. And then I did photos, and I don't know, it was just beautiful. It was a beautiful energy. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we're in the book. If you're just joining on the last, I don't know, 4 episodes, been talking about basically what I was doing is reading a little bit of the book and then giving a little bit of context to like what was going on. And just to sum it up, I had been talking about the political landscape of Detroit during this time period. So we're talking between like 2009 and 2014. So just talking about the political landscape of the city, it had been under emergency management, and most of the decisions were being bottom line because our elected officials were basically silenced because you may have elected someone, but they couldn't make any decisions because they were usurped because there was inserted a manager to basically just think about like what's the cheapest way to do all this, which is not the way to do government, right? Yeah. But it's what did Corey say? I want to see more Black women advocacy and startups in the cannabis industry. Oh, come to Detroit. It's legal in Detroit. There's so many Black women, and like my cousin, shouts out to Robbie, has a business where she helps businesses get into the cannabis business, and there's so many great cannabis businesses here. I mean, whether they're doing food or whether they're doing medicine, education, I mean, and beauty products, skincare, hair care, infusions, just so many things, so many aspects to cannabis here. There's all types of like what my place that I tell you all about. We used to have a cannabis university where we used to because we were working on getting it legal, and at first we got medical, and then now we have recreational as well. But at MySpace, we used to have a cannabis university where different folks would come. There were experts in this, and they would come from all over the country, and they would come and they would teach about how they made it legal, like in California or wherever, and they would talk about how they their processes, and they taught us, and then that really helped us to I mean, and there's a lot of challenges. I'm not trying to say like we got it, but I'm just saying like come to Detroit if you if you're in cannabis and you want to win. Like, come here. It's a great place to innovate and, like, do your business. You know what I'm saying? Says, what's the name of your cousin's business? You know what? Her name is Robbie. She does it as a consultation business. And so her name is Robbie Sellers, and she does it like as a one-on-one consultation with people, because it's necessary to be able to help people with the vision that they have for their business. You know what I'm saying? Because even though it's legal, you know there's always a thing for a thing. Says you have a friend in the D who wants to explore the industry. Oh, just take my email. It's pipercarter@gmail. That's probably what I shouldn't do on the internet, but it's okay. I'm too much on Google, so you can find me anyway. But take my email, and that's for Duchess, right? So yeah, hit me up, Duchess, and let me know so that I can connect you with my cousin. Corey said, loving that very spectrum up there down here in Jacksonville, then folks trying to box the little startups out. I mean, of course, right? Like, you definitely have that. Like, you definitely have where people are trying to, like, box people out. That's a whole thing. So that's for sure. When you say actually just lit up as you address that, I'd love to foray into strains specifically cultivated by Black women. Oh yeah, so yeah, I've come to Detroit. That's people are coming up with their strains and all type of stuff that I, liquid stuff, like all type of things. It's amazing. Like, as we speak. So I want to say, like, before I was talking about the political climate and everything that was going on in Detroit at the time, and I talked about owning the space. I talked about getting violently gentrified out of the space. I talked about us forming a group and doing reading groups and learning together. I'm just kind of if you've been listening, I'm just kind of catching folks up, but I'm running through it. And so also talked about, like, an evolution on the consciousness around feminism. And I think last time I touched on that, how when I first entered, I did not identify as a feminist. But it was because my orientation to the word, number one, I had never used the word. So I was like, I don't actually know what that is. I'm not about to call myself something I don't know. But as I started learning more, and as I started becoming more learned of other ways of feminism, or other ways that people were expressing feminism around the world, and Black indigenous women around the world, especially after going to Brazil, that really helped me, because in South America, and not to flatten people, I'm just saying kind of in general, or largely in South America, in the spaces that I've been in, socialism, communism, and a very clear understanding that the state is the enemy and not one another. And there's a lot of political education that goes on. They're very clear about, they read Che, study Che, this is peasant farmers, you know what I'm saying? Like, teaching each other. There's, and after going to Chile in 2019 and being a part of that revolution at that time, and just learning from these amazing, incredible elders, and and women, and just indigenous and Black women who are like regular women. You know what I'm saying? They're farmers, they're housekeepers, they're, regular, caregivers, regular women. You know what I'm saying? That's pushing back against the state. And the state had been actively, and is still actively, murdering them, right? Because they want to do things like put a missile base in the Amazon, or they want to, they've basically destroyed their land to where they can't even, like, cultivate the land anymore. And the land is very much a part of their identity and who they are, and this whole thing. But what I learned from them around Black sovereignty, especially from the Quilombo, because I lived in a Quilombo community for about a month, just studying how they do Black sovereignty. And what I learned is that they here, they're having trouble on Twitch. We'll just fix that. Remove that. Okay, sorry about that, guys. But so what I learned from them is that they had spent what we saw that felt like all this solidarity was at least 20 years of them doing intense political education. And that is a format that is called Black United Front, which we have as a process for building unity amongst people who have different ideologies. And so I value that because in my experience, what I'd always been told and taught in the talking points is that, like, Black people don't have any unity. And what I'll say is a bit more accurate is that it's difficult to bring people together in general without like having clear guidelines and clear understanding and processes, right? And so what they had done is just learn about each other. They spent almost like 20 years just learning about, and what they would do, they would go from village to village. So let's say, like, if you are, fill in the blank ethnic group, we go to your village. They have what's called a mystica. In the mystica, they have like singing, dancing, storytelling that talks about their lineage and their history. They share that. They might share their flag, and they might share some of their, songs or poems, or, and you might do it together, or someone might perform it, you're in a circle. There's some ceremony honoring, the lineage, the deities, and all the in natural elements. And then you're gonna do storytelling, and you're gonna listen to stories, right? And people will tell you stories about what they've been through, and not to like commiserate, or not to do like that, like, what do you call that, like poverty porn. It's not that. It's like actual for learning. So it could be in like a allegory, or it could be just in a sense of just like telling, like just tell the facts, like what happened. But there's lots of listening, and then there's some dancing and some food. And then, so that's going to happen for like this ethnic group. And then the next month we go to this ethnic group. And so they've been doing that, like for the last 20 years. So they've all been visiting each other's communities. And I was learning that before they started doing this process, there was a lot of like, clashes and fighting, right, for their differences. But now that a lot of solidarity has been built through this process, they get a chance to like work together. And something that I got a chance to see that I thought was super powerful, we did one protest, and it was something like, we were in the jungle in the Amazon, and I want to say it was at over 100 plus thousand, could almost be 200,000 people, like fighting against the like the tanks and all that. And we went in communities and did this. We went in like the hood basically and did this. And I'm saying this to say that, like, I know that we've seen here like different moments, right? I think what I would say is different is that they don't have like moments. I mean, they do have moments, but I'm saying like where we have like, oh, there was a moment, right? Like for 2020 was like a moment. Like they're able to like sustain, you know what I'm saying, these fights. And it's interesting because when I went on Saturday, and I saw a friend of mine, and she was, well, actually my cousin, and she was telling me that her friend was telling her that he was like tired of like all these protests, and he was going to sit this one out because he got burnt out over all the Black Lives Matter protests. Don't get me wrong. I believe in honoring your capacity and all of that, but I'm thinking like, how are we going to win, y'all? I mean, and I get it. I'm all into rest. Rest is resistance. You know, I get it. I read the book. I agree that we need rest and we don't need to be overworking ourselves. But like being in this space, I guess maybe I get triggered because I'm like, and I'm older. I'll admit I'm a Gen Xer, and like for me, being in the movement, like I only just started being like a so-called professional activist, meaning like that people actually pay me to show up and organize. But before then, I would like all this stuff that I did I wasn't getting paid to do this, right? This is grassroots organizing. Like I didn't even know about nonprofit. None of that. This was just like on the ground, like there's a need, let's get it. It wasn't till after all of this and like 2018 when people started actually like hiring me to like, you know, organize. You know what I'm saying? And do this kind of thing. And even with that, I don't know. Maybe I have a different philosophy, but it's like, how are we gonna win? Because it's like people treat it like it's a 9 to 5, you know, like they work at McDonald's, and it's like, I need my break. I need my 15-minute break. I need my hour break. I'm getting off at 5. Don't call me before 9. Don't text me. Don't call me. Don't email me. Don't hit, you know, and it's all these things, all these rules. And I'm like, how are we gonna organize, y'all? I can't even figure out how to connect with you to like do things. And then it's like you go to the meetings and everyone's talking all this lofty stuff, right? About like dismantling white supremacy and the patriarchy and capitalism. And I'm like, but nobody can call you. Nobody can text you. Nobody can email you. You on sabbatical every time. No shade. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, but probably that's like a beefy rant that I probably need to let go of because it's just gonna continue. That's so annoying. But what do you say? You said we getting got by these Europeans, but USA is a propaganda monster of the whole world. It is. You said people don't understand the fight. They think it's a moment. It's like a moment, right? It's like a moment. Oh, I did that thing. So it's like she was like, oh yeah, he was like, yeah, I did that Black Lives Matter thing and I'm done. I'm like, this isn't like Jaws 3. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, I saw the movie Jaws and I saw Jaws 2 and I don't want to see Jaws 3 in 3D. This is like not that. It's like part of the reason that folks I'm gonna say are winning. I'm gonna say part because it's not like the reason. There's no like the reason. I'm gonna say a part of it is because people can sustain the fight. I don't know if y'all ever been in a fight. But growing up in the hood, I used to have to fight a lot. I hated fighting. I like it now. But I hated fighting. And I hated fighting because you never knew when it was going to end. And I'm such a peaceful person, peace-loving person. I just didn't like fighting. I wanted to just like jump rope and kick it. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to have fun, do my little hand games, tap, have fun, and something will happen, and you have to fight. And you never know how long the fight's gonna last. But once the fight happens, like you gotta fight. Like you have to win. You know what I'm saying? Because if you lose, then you're beat. You know what I'm saying? So you stay in there as long as you can stay in there. Fortunately, the fights I had, people weren't actually trying to kill me. So it's not like a fair comparison. So people weren't actually trying to kill me. They were just trying to like beat me up. You know what I'm saying? These fights that we're in, people are like, the goal is to kill everybody, right? And so it's like, I don't know. I'm not giving up. And I don't think we should give up. And yes, we need breaks. Yes, we need sleep. Yes, we need rest. Yes, we need joy. We need all of that, but not like in place of, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not a versus battle with like joy or work. I don't know. At least not for me. Maybe for some people it is. And I don't want to like flatten people's experience. But I guess I'm just looking at in the so-called United States and the ways in which I'm seeing things play out. And I look at, and again, I've only been staying in places like for a month at a time. So obviously I don't know the totality of the experience from that, but I'm just saying from what I've gathered and learned is they're able to sustain their fights. And I think part of the reason they're able to sustain the fights is because they're very clear about what's needed. And what's needed is being able to sustain, right? How do you sustain that momentum? How do you sustain that, right? But anywho, Rudy, that's something that probably getting off track, but it made me think about all that. You said you're a Floridian, huh, Corey? Uh, yeah, yeah. Detroit's very different for a Floridian. You might need to have you a little place where you go and get you a little heat and come back and forth. I do think that, but see, they also had ancestral land ways to unify and cultivate cross generational ties. They have systemically dispossessed and repossessed our gains into a young shifting population. I think it's also youth culture, youth worship. Youth worship. It says, Pamela, peace, Pamela. You say you agree. It's not a 9-to-5 situation. That's why our movements feel more like moments than sustained engagements. Right. Because people are like, oh, and I get it, what did Corey says? That's why they infiltrated hip hop early, because it's beyond land rights and had the possibilities of being a true unifying intellectual right for our people. Said agreed. It's not either or, but rather both, and joy amidst the struggle. That is. Yeah, you gotta have some joy, right? Our people, that's what we did. What do you think the blues is? Hip hop, jazz, that's where we, anyway. Maybe people might argue with me about that, but that is how I look at it. So if I go into the book, like I said, talked before about, if you go to the other number 4, we talked a little bit about the ideation of people seeing themselves as feminist or not feminist. And I was saying that to say that I didn't identify as feminist until I met some Black indigenous people in Brazil who identify as feminists, and I was like, yeah, I think that's what I am too. But they did it differently. You know what I'm saying? Like the way they did feminism was totally differently. And so I think in that context of grassroots Black feminism, like hip hop feminism, like I would identify more with that. So in going through this, what's interesting too, in some of the I was saying that we had our show. I'm the rapper, she's the DJ. This past weekend, it was really dope. To promote the show, we were going to the different colleges. When we were in the colleges, we're in these different hip hop classes, and we're having conversations about all the things we're talking about here, but like the history of women in hip hop, and then some of the ideas around women in hip hop. And the conversation that continues to come up is this conversation about Black women, around women's sexuality and their bodies, and like the selling of the sexualized, the sexualized being, right? And I think that question keeps coming up, like from men. And every space that I've been in, when people have asked this question, it's been like from men, and men asking the question like, what do you think about these women, like, the state of women in hip hop now, and these women and their lyrics and their clothing, and then, not having any clothes on. And what do you think about that? And I guess the way that I respond to it, or what I think, is number one, it's like the way that I answer the question is not so much like what I think about these women, and like, what I guess the way I think about it, I zoom it out, right? 'Cause my thing is like, there is an industry, right, called the music industry, right? That's a thing, or entertainment industry. That's a thing, right? And to me, and it's arguable, that is different to me than hip hop culture. Hip hop culture to me um is its own thing. And then there's like being in the business of being an entertainer, right? And you can be in the business of being an entertainer, and you can be an independent in the business of being an entertainer. And there's like a whole world in hip hop, and I'll call it like the global hip hop economy, that is separate from the music industry, right? Because there's the like commercial music industry, which is like, your Sony Music, Universal Records, all this stuff, Spotify, like Apple, iTunes, blah, blah, blah. There's that whole world. That's one thing. Then you have like the global, like hip hop economy, which, if you know about, Anita Tijoux or Las Crudas or, I would even say Tech Nine. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a whole, Saw Rock, like there's a whole, independent like economy, right? In hip hop, where people have fans, people sell a lot of music, they sell a lot of merch, they, people are, pay money to see them, they want to see them, and they have a sustained economy around that, right? That is a different thing than what's going on over in the like commercial music world. And I think for me, the conversations that I like to have are in that independent uh hip hop economy space, because that's where I live too, right? Like that's, my artists get booked in that space as well. And that's where Moo Fresh came from. You know what I'm saying? That whole world. And I just think that as we're moving forward, me personally, I like to separate them, because I don't think they necessarily have anything to do with one another. I feel like the fans are very different, because I don't think that I don't think that, I mean, it's probably not, I'm gonna say probably not, I'm gonna doubt that the folks who are really into Sexy Red are the same fans that are into like Saw Rock. Now, it doesn't mean that none of the Saw Rock people like Sexy Red, or none of the, Sexy Red people like Saw Rock, but I highly doubt that that's the same like fan, right? Um Also too, I think like, and maybe it's just me, I think like having these conversations are, for me, a bit draining, because I feel like we spend a lot of time putting a lot of energy onto like what that machine is doing that we're fighting against. And I feel like we don't put enough energy on like uplifting and highlighting like the machines that we actually like do have, and then, growing those audiences and growing that support. And there's like a certain there's a certain fan, right, that's gonna like, um like dig, for the beats. There's a certain fan who's gonna look for that certain music producer. There's a certain fan who's looking for that like particular sound. There's a certain fan who's looking for like that, those lyrics. There's a certain fan that's looking for like that type of experience. And the experience I'm talking about is like what you're gonna get at the, I'm gonna call it the independent hip hop ecosystem, right? Economy. Um, and a lot of those shows are happening, right? Like in community centers, a lot of them are happening at universities, a lot of them are happening like, with these with organizations that have budgets to like hire, these artists. And I like to have a different conversation around like, okay, I could sit here and worry about Universal Music, but why? I guess like for me, I already see Universal Music as an exploiter. I already see Sony Music as an exploiter. Like I already see those spaces like as exploitive. Like we're already having plenty of conversations about how the artists don't get paid, or these 360 deals, or blah 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 blah. And I'm thinking like, why do folks want to go into that? Maybe they do want to go into that for discoverability, right? Because that's a whole nother conversation that we have all the time about, like for instance, and I'm sorry I'm going tangential, but I speak in anecdotes a little bit better. My artist, when I say my artist, I don't mean in the sense that I own her, but I mean in the sense that my um my company slash organization, We Found Hip Hop, which is dedicated to celebrating and uplifting women in hip hop, we just started a record label like 2 years ago. our first and only artist that we have one there right now, looking for some more um that fit our values. But our artist that we have on there right now is Aisha Ellis. Aisha Ellis is a drummer. She's a, I'm gonna call her a hip hop drummer because that's what she is. She plays hip hop, she plays jazz, she plays funk, she plays soul. She created some music during the pandemic. It's great music. The album's out now. You can, purchase it's on vinyl. You can purchase it on Hypnotic Records. That's my husband's record label. So we did it in the family. It's Hypnotic Records, and it's distributed through Underground Resistance, which is the distributor, which is Submerge Records. And so we did it completely independently. I'm naming all that. Yes, I'm name dropping, but I'm naming all that to say that I'm getting a lot of pushback from my friends, my comrades, my colleagues that are in the more like commercial end of the music industry, because they're like, oh, Pipe, you don't have her music on Spotify or iTunes or Apple, whatever. And I'm Amazon Music and all. I'm like, no, I'm like, what we decided to do is put the vinyl as a download on our website, on my husband's record label website. So we put the record as a download, so it's a digital download, or you could purchase the vinyl, and that's what it is. You want to listen to it, those are the ways to get the music, to get it. Now we did shoot a couple of music videos, so we did some music videos, so we'll be releasing the music videos. But um that's how you're getting the music, and people have been buying it. We've sold now about 250 vinyl. I have to double check how many digital downloads we sold. No, we're not selling like millions of records, and no, we don't have spins on Spotify. And the argument is like, well, Pipe, why don't you put her on Spotify and iTunes and Amazon Music and all that, so she can be like discoverable? But we're fighting against the system. We're not even fighting against the system. We created our own system. We have our own ecosystem. And the philosophy is that, okay, we might not sell millions of records, but our goal is to get her 1,000 true fans, the 1,000 people who can sustain her, right? Where she could send her daughter to college, she could, finish buying her house, she can, live a life and take care of herself. You know what I'm saying? It's solid music, is great music. She's got great legendary people playing on there. She owns, the publishing. Right. Autonomy, Pancho. Right. She has autonomy. Like, she owns the publishing. I'm not exploiting her. And I get so much flack from most of my friends that are in the music industry because they're like, Pipe, this doesn't make any sense. But what they don't understand is what I set out to do was, I had already had this organization where I was doing the no misogyny open mic. Like I told you, I lasted for for 5 years. And that's basically what this book is about. And then after that ended and I was violently gentrified out of my place and all of that, I was like, what am I gonna do? We started studying together, and we created like I don't know, like a women's group, but that's, kind of, that sounds crazy. But there was basically like a collective, where we were like reading together and studying together and thinking together. And then they started making a lot of music together. And then that fell apart, to be honest. And so, reiterated ourselves. And then I created Detroit's first Women in Hip Hop conference and concert, where like 3,000 people attended. And we introduced Rhapsody to Detroit, you know, and that was what, 2016. And it took me like 9 months to sell 1,000 tickets. I did it though. And I did my own street team, right? And I went to every concert that I thought was very similar to like sell the tickets. And very briefly, I'll tell you all that story very briefly, because this is how it is when you do independent. It's a lot of freaking work. So I got a grant to do the conference, right? And so when I got the grant, reached to the women that I'm in community with, and I was like, hey, thank you, Mara. And I was like, who should we get? Da, 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 da. So we went back and forth. And then I decided on Rhapsody. Everybody was like, who? Now, me, I was surprised that no one had heard of Rhapsody, but it was 2016. It's Detroit, a little behind, whatever. So I was like, yo, she's dope. She represents the brand. And everybody wanted, I don't know, they wanted like Dej Loaf because Dej Loaf was hot at the time. And I was like, I really don't like her content. No offense. And it's whatever, because you know what I'm saying. I support Dej Loaf. Like, I want to see her win. It's just, to be honest, for my first concert where I was actually trying to like let people know what the brand is, like that wasn't the brand. Rhapsody is the brand. So got a deal with Rhapsody because nobody knew who she was. And my cousin, who I told y'all before, runs one of the like big major, concert events here, and I was assistant stage manager at the time. He, through his management company, was able to get her at a really good price. Also because she wasn't the Rhapsody that she is now, right? So he put out the word. I had the coin, sent her the coin for the deposit with the contract. So she's locked. So I'm like, good. Promote, promote, promote. Nobody's buying tickets. My tickets were $25. I also, it was like black woman through and through. It had black woman owned venue. Shouts out to the Garden Theater. Beautiful theater. Everybody, like, it was a new venue. So people were like, oh, I don't know this venue. I never heard of it. Right in the city. And people was like, Rhapsody, I don't know. It's $25. I'm like, they didn't want to pay the $25. They didn't know who she was, but pushed and pushed. I said, well, who's my demographic? So I went to, for 9 months, okay, I went to I went to like the Anderson .Paak concert and street team. I went to the Beyonce concert and street team. I went to every concert that I could think of that was where I was thinking, like, who would care about women in hip hop? And I was going in all the suburbs, right? Because I was going in, like, Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti and like every suburb. I was going to all the suburbs, Royal Oak. I was going to different theaters. I was 9 months. So every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I was passing out thousands of flyers. You know what I'm saying? And no, and I'm talking old school, like the 90s, and people being like, nope, 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 nope. However, fast forward to like that. So I had booked her in what was that, like October? And or I put the deposit in the contract in October. And then February, she won the Grammy. No, yeah, yeah, something like that. February, she won the Grammy with Kendrick Lamar. So I used that to like promote. That might have sold 10 tickets. Then I think somewhere around March, like DJ Premier and Jay-Z said in some article or something that she was the best female MC. And that might have sold another 10 tickets. And tickets was going slow. Like, nobody was trying to buy a ticket. Like, and everybody was slamming me in my face. Everybody was like, nobody wants to see that. Nobody cares. Nobody knows who she is, but still grind, 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 right? Fast forward to, I want to say, like, oh, and I had called her manager at the time, and I was like, oh, can you help me? Because I'm trying to promote this show. Can you help me and connect me with maybe some media outlets so that I can get some media? And she was like, no, that's your job. I was like, but it's gonna help sell the show. And she was just basically like, I don't care about that. I said, okay, noted. So I I got with this one young lady, and she said she did PR. She did an okay job. But she did a good job. So she connected me with this other guy that does stuff for Eminem. I know he was a white guy, but he did a good job. So he got me uh what did I get from that? I got OK Player. That was a good one. I got an interview on the Shade 4-5, and I wanted Rhapsody to interview on Shade 4-5, but her manager was like, she's not doing it. I don't know why her manager didn't want her to do any press. Whatever. So I ended up doing a Shade 4-5 interview, which was great for my brand. And then I did a bunch of different radio interviews. We have like a Hot 107.5 here, which is the same as Hot 97, but it's 107.5. So I did that one. I got one there. Like again, I was trying to get Rhapsody, but her manager didn't want her to do nothing. So I ended up doing them. Which was great because then people were learning about the brand. Did they go to the website? And I was like, okay, cool. And then like I think the last one was the source. And then the source did a piece. And I was like, boom. So I'm promote. Mind you, I'm trying to sell 1,000 tickets. So the day of the event, mind you, most of the other women were kind of ticked off with me. Why? To this day, I still don't necessarily know. We've discussed it, but it was a part of like how the thing broke up. I think it was a combination of things, but anyway, it's a long another story. But that day, it's pretty empty, right? And I had to pay for everything. I got to pay for the security, the space, the insurance, all the things. Right? The photographer, I got to pay for all the things, right? So everything's paid for. Mind you, a lot of hip hop people, why there's a lot of violence in hip hop is because there's a lot of stuff to pay for, and then like people don't pay for stuff, and they're depending on their ticket sales to like pay for everything. And then if they don't sell enough tickets, that we don't have the money, then they go back to people and they try to tell people, well, this is why I don't have your money. And then people not accepting that. So I never experienced that because I've watched that happen. And I was like, yeah, no, that's not about to be me. So I kicked everybody off. Everybody was paid before the show. The only people who weren't paid in full was the artists, because with artists, you don't pay them in full. You pay them a deposit, and then they do their thing. And then that night, when they're done do their thing, that's when you give them the rest of the money. Or right before they hit the stage, right? So if you paid them the deposit, they show up. Then right before they hit the stage, like as they're going onto the stage to go do their thing, you give them the rest. And then they hit the stage and then you're done, right? But everything else I paid for, right? So everyone's paid, they're good, blah, blah, blah. All the opening acts, all that. Okay, boom. So that day, I'm like, man, because I'm thinking I'm going to lose money. Because I'm looking around and it's only like 300 people. Mind you, I'm trying to sell 1,000. I'm like, man, it's only 300 people here. So I told myself, you know what? There's only 300 people. It's fine. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good show anyway. So I'm going around hyping people up. Blah, 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 blah. So I'm getting, calls and texts on my phone. And people are like, Pipe, is that your event at the Garden Theater? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, yo, the line is wrapped around the corner. I'm like, what? I go outside. The line, it looks like, when those PlayStation games come out on the first day, I saw a line wrapped. I mean, and it was funny. So you know what I did? I had to go outside and go on my live and be like, yo, y'all not here. Y'all missing out. I know it's whatever. It's petty, but I had to do it. It's marketing. So then everybody was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I ended up selling out. Made my money back. I was cool because I was like, ended up selling out. It ended up getting all this other press. And literally, so that I think our concert was Friday. That Monday is when Jay-Z has signed or whatever, announced that he had signed Rhapsody to Rock Nation or whatever is a big thing. So I use that to like promote or whatever. And I'm just saying that to say that a lot of time, like what happens with the big majors, right? I did everything that would have happened if I was Universal Music or if I was Sony. But it would have been teams. I would have had like mad teams, and there'd be like a marketing team, a promotion team, right? A production team. Like there'd be a whole team, and all the teams would meet and argue and blah, blah. Then we get together and then we do our thing, right? But I ain't have no team like that. I had a bunch of artists who wanted to like get put on and be in the front, but didn't want to do, that story, The Little Red Hen? I was a little red hen. Or was I? Whatever. Whoever the one doing the work. That was me. And that's what it's like when you're independent. It's not a complaint. It's just a reality check. And I think, what happens in people's minds is people think like, why doesn't this run like that? Or why doesn't that run like that? Because it's a capitalist system. And as we're fighting against capitalism, we're still in this thing, and we still have to like earn money. We still got to make a living. We still have to put forth a quality product, or else people won't care. You know what I'm saying? So you still have to operate in a way, because people are conditioned to like see things and receive things in a certain way. So you still have to like give them that quality level. And um you know for me, the way I do it is in a way where it's like, my philosophy is that my fans are going to find me. My fans are going to like what I do. I'm going to stick to my values and principles, because that's what my fans are there for. So I don't chase the trends. I know what's up. Like, I pay attention, to what's going on. I like authenticity, and that's the way I roll. And so the artists that I work with, like, that's the artists that I choose to work with, like those same type of artists. So anyway, I told you that whole long story because now we have the record label, and I'm kind of going through this again with one of my comrades who's like, "Yo, Pike, you need to put her on, Spotify and all, and not to single them out, but like Apple iTunes and blah, 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 so that she can have discoverability, so that people can, find her." And my thing is, number one, she's not. It's not like people are like, there's so much music on Spotify. Like, let's get real about reality. There, like, people are already paying. Like, you already got payola. So these record labels are already in with Spotify. So it's not like you put your music on Spotify and then suddenly everyone can find your music, right? Like, everyone's flocking to go to your music because on Spotify, you still got to do the same level of promotion and all that. So that same effort that we would be sending people to the Spotify or the Apple iTunes or whatever other platform, that same effort, we just send them to the website. We just send them to my husband's website, Hypnotic Records, and they could get her music. Aisha Ellis, who's an amazing hip hop drummer and percussionist. She has her album out now. Luck or Favor is beautiful music. 6-song EP is available on vinyl or digital download. We're about to go back into the studio. I really want to tell y'all what this project is, but I'm sworn to secrecy, and I'm so excited about it. It's going to come out 2024. Amazing new instrumental project. The other one is instrumental project. I've been sending it to DJs, and actually we're doing several. I got her like, she was booked and busy all summer. I had her booked to like mad festivals and shows all summer long. She's been booked on her music. And so now, she's going to be on November the 11th at Spotlight for the Hellcat night with DJ Hot Wax Hale, the legendary Mother of House. She's going to have an album released there. And we're going to do something next year for this album, but we're going back in the studio to work on more music. But any hootie Rudy Tootie, I haven't looked at the chat since I've been running my yap. And what did you say? Let me make sure I'm paying attention. So you say, okay. Oh, how do you say that? Amen kenum batamen. I might not be saying that properly. And who else? Oh, peace. What's up, Quaker Anarchist? You know what I'm gonna do? Y'all, I've been so busy. I got to get back to putting the show early so that y'all can know that the show is happening. And I'll do that. That's gonna be my next thing. Y'all will know the show is happening. Truth and Hip Hop. YouTube is blocking BPM notifications. Is it? I didn't put it up early. I'll be honest. I just put the show up just now. So that's my fault. I need to put it up a little earlier. Christian, how does privacy on a project help an artist? Just wondering. Privacy? How does privacy on I'm not sure what the question is, Quaker Anarchist. He said, I think it's because Spotify is too big. It's too easy to get lost in the sauce. Yeah, I mean, Spotify is big. I mean, and they do, I mean, like when you put your music up on whatever platform, it's not like everyone's going to flock to it. You still have to do the same amount of marketing. So if you have to do, okay, all right, so maybe people are already on YouTube, or maybe they're already on Spotify, and maybe that's what he's saying is like he doesn't want to have to go to like our platform to like get the song. He just wants to like be able to go to Spotify and then like find it. But my pushback from, oh, I said, you said you have to keep, oh, I can't tell what her new, so we have a project that's out, but I can't tell you what her new project is going to be. I'm sworn to secrecy. I can't tell you what her new project's going to be. I can only tell you once we've done all the copyrights. But once we've done all that, then yeah, I can promote it. But until then, I can't. Mum's the word. But I'm just excited about it. It's a very exciting project. But yeah, I mean, the way my husband is like, yo, just go to our website, and get the music. Like, you don't need to go to these other platforms to get the music. You could just come to our website. So that's what we do. But anywho, Rudy Tootie, I didn't even. I did touch on the book a little bit though. I kind of modernized the conversation, but I was just talking about, you know, ways in which we had seen ourselves as feminists or not feminists from before, and how we've, well, at least I've kind of shifted from that. She has to do copyright. Yeah, I gotta do. Yeah, I gotta set her up for the new project. We haven't gone in the studio yet. We're going into the studio to do her second project, and I want to tell y'all what it is so bad because it's so exciting. He says, guess his perspective is that most consumers are lazy, and that's my point, right? Most people are lazy, and there is millions of music on all these platforms, and none of us are checking for most of it, right? We checking for what we checking for. So I mean, I do go in there and look for what's new. I'm not saying I do it all day every day. I do it, weekly, see what's new. But I think in terms of marketing and promotion, I think that if you cultivate your base, your fan base, then um they'll come, because they'll be like, oh, I'm gonna go to this, I'm gonna go to that. You've cultivated the base. And I think, like, Spotify is not gonna pay you. Spotify is not gonna pay your bills. Spotify is not gonna promote you. None of these platforms are gonna pay your bills and promote you. They're not. They're just not. That's not how they work. The same amount of marketing and promotion you do on these platforms, you do on your own platform. People like to pretend that listening to it on Spotify is supporting. They don't understand it's important to make that purchase to artists can afford to make more music. Right. And people say, oh, they want to go to Bandcamp. But Bandcamp's the same thing. I think Bandcamp is fine if you don't have a website. But we have a website. So we send people to our website. You can buy the vinyl. We have a vinyl, like a whole vinyl. You could buy two, even if you got two turntables. And you could do digital download of the song. And that's the way you get the music. I'm giving it to the DJs to play. Yeah. So something that I wanted to touch on. I mean, I had talked about it a little bit. Is about the intersections of environmental justice and in hip hop, and how we had there's so much here. There's a chapter here, if you have the book, on 116, and it's called Legendary Environmental Justice and Collaborative Cultural Production. And then there's another section on page 130. It's called Hip Hop Activism in Action. And I'm trying to think, like, which one I should talk about. I mean, I've talked about so many of these things before. And then there's the conclusion. on page 154 that talks about women, hip hop, and cultural organizing. I mean, I was trying to think which one to read from. All of these are relevant. Um, all of these are relevant. Let's see. Well, I think that it would be good to read a little bit of each. I'll read a little bit from each. Trying to see like what's the best place to read from. Mm, Maybe I'll just read this paragraph. So no, I'll go here. So legendary environmental justice and collaborative cultural production. See the headlines, we are disenfranchised. But when we got lemons, what do? Make that lemon pie. And that's why I walk with my head high, because it's twice as hard as a chick, but I get by and stay fly. That's from Neek Love Rhodes from her song Legendary. So this chapter, which starts on 110, employs an interdisciplinary framework that invokes research from ecomusicology, popular music studies, urban geography, and urban planning, intersections that have only recently begun to receive attention in musicological studies, commenting on the importance of I'm sorry, uh, commenting on the importance of musicological attention to environmental concerns. Aaron S. Allen explains, musicologists can provide insight on how composers, musicians, and others react to and communicate about environmental problems in their works, performances, and communal music making. And we can consider how listeners and audiences react and respond to such experiences. Building on Allen's insights, we situate the process of making the track and video for Legendary, as well as its analysis within ecomusicology in an effort to understand how hip hop can be a strategic tool for building environmental awareness and advocating for change. Most importantly, it is significant that it is Black women who are employing hip hop in Detroit to communicate local environmental concerns to the community and the state. We weave theoretical currents from the emergent literatures shaping ecomusicology and the relationships between urban geography and music in both the production process and analysis below. This theoretical background helps us contextualize the process of production that led to the making of the track and music video for Legendary. The artists broadcast their interpretations of city space environment and musical life throughout the production process. As researchers and collaborators on the video, we mobilized hip hop's aesthetics as a working methodology. That is to say, we embodied improvisational aesthetics from hip hop's organic traditions of freestyling, battling, and ciphering. Our methodological work is grounded in ways of doing and being in the sonic, kinesthetic, linguistic, and visual practices and expressions of hip hop. Camera work, sound adjustments, movements within scenes, clothing choices, site selections, and choreography emerged organically throughout the production process. This is not to say that improvisation is random. Rather, a history of hip hop culture and skills underscores emergent practices. It takes an assemblage of stockpiles of knowledge and skill sets to invoke an improvisational aesthetic. As such, we offer a framework for people who do hip hop collaborative work. The sonic stanza that we invoke above from Neek Love Rhodes is part of a larger verse from Legendary. Members of the foundation worked collectively to produce the track and video with the aim of force grounding a woman-centered depiction of Detroit and gesturing towards solutions for overcoming contemporary environmental and social conditions consuming the city and its citizens. Legendary captures the ways strong women resist, recast, racial injustice, environmental ruin, and social abandonment. These issues are not unusual in Detroit, rather, they are all too familiar. However, the process of collaboration that went into the production of Legendary is atypical. So, welcome new member, Truth Hip Hop. Uh, Hey, Jen Dog. Jen Dog is a dope MC that is in and from NYC. Thanks for joining. And something that's super cool is Jen Dog came to the conference I was telling y'all about and taught the MC session and did a great job doing that. Let's see. It says people like to pretend that listening to it on Spotify is supporting. They don't understand it's important to make the purchase so the artist can afford to make more music. So KJS Akuma says social media be pissing me off sometimes. I just feel like people play the same mainstream songs over and over because that's all they know and they want to be hip as well. I still support underground regardless. Truth Hip Hop says I'm going to go to the website tonight and make the purchase. Duchess, if you build it, they will come. As you mentioned, Tech Nine is an example of that. Right. Truth Hip Hop says I'll put it in my rotation on station 2. Oh, Amen. Wait, say Amen. Kenu Batu. Amen. Thank you. I honor and cultivate the hidden wisdom of the ancestors and universe. Aka, bro, Joshua, your brother from Jersey. Hey, peace. Jersey. Love you too, Jen Dog. So you said lemon pie, huh? Quaker anarchist. So Yama says the music in social media libraries. The music is in social media libraries, so it gets added to videos and clips, etc. The platform want to be the main plug, so but it works against artists and culture. Now, the one thing I do think is cool is you could put your music on Instagram and TikTok, which I think is like kind of ironic. But I think there it's a little different because I think that discoverability actually makes more sense to me because if people do a little video and dance or whatever, I know it's still the same thing, but in a way, I feel that's a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like a little clip of your music, couple of seconds of your music, and then people are like, oh, what's that song? They want to go get the actual song. But I don't know. That's my personal philosophy. You know, try your hand at it. Pancho said the discussion of space and urban development is good. Yes, Allied Media. Yama says it's I'm sorry, KJ Akuma says if I can't play the cool but get pushed to play some pop stuff instead, I'm gonna be hella mad. Right. So yeah, I mean, a lot of the work that we did, which is what this book is about, was around how we navigated like all of our injustices and how we used hip hop and being women and centering women and fighting against the patriarchy and fighting against capitalism and all the things and centering environmental justice um in our work and how space and place were very important, right, to our work. They talk about broadening the boundaries of ecomusicology. Yeah, because when you go to academic spaces, they always try to say, "Oh, this isn't that" or whatever, and it's like, "Child, please." Music place in Detroit's ethos. It kind of talks about that kind of history there, and, on the margins of urban design. That's in the book. If you're new, we're reading out of the book Women Rappin Revolution. This is the 5th episode. If you want to see more, if you have time in your life and you want to binge watch, you can watch the first 4 episodes where we're kind of breaking down what happened in the book. So this talks more about the song Legendary, right? And how that came about. So I think it's kind of important to read about that. And it's related because this is when I still had the space. So imagining and exploring Legendary. Legendary is the song that we took to the ethnomusicology conference and I made a music video from it, and Mahogany wrote the song. It's a whole thing. So in 2013, we collaborated on a track and video with foundation artists for the ecomusicology listening room session at the annual American Musicological Association conference in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I enjoyed Pittsburgh, by the way. The call for submissions was discussed with foundation members to the extent that those involved agreed that the final product, the music video, should address the multi-layered dimensions of marginalization that Detroiters experience. We wanted to address both the place of women in Detroit's hip hop underground and their interpretation of the areas in the city that have been demolished or abandoned. Over the course of our research, we learned that the ubiquity of abandoned spaces has lasting effects on the city's human, cultural, and political environment. Once we agreed to ask the artists if they had any interest in creating a song and video to speak to the call, we emailed Piper. She reached out to women in the foundation to solicit interest. Neek Love Rhodes and Mahogany expressed interest in the project. At our first meeting, we did not break down the call or interpret it. We hoped the ambiguity would lead to creativity. This strategy worked. With only the primer of the conference call inviting music and video projects that address the relationship between music, image, and place. Mahogany and Neek went to work. Mahogany approached Ronald Ironic Lee Jr., her longtime producer, and asked him for beats. She shared with him the same call from which we all worked. He gave her several instrumentals, which she sent along to Neek. Independently, both artists selected the same beat as the one they liked best. They told us that it felt like Detroit. That is, the beat produced a certain kind of feeling that evoked Detroit. Once they settled on a beat, they started writing verses. Again, they produced independent verses without discussing their writing process. Once they emailed their verses to one another, they wrote the hook together. Only after the beat was selected, verses written, and the hook finalized did the artists share the track in the making with us. While Mahogany and Neek continued to refine their rhymes, the two of us and Piper began to brainstorm the video's concept and production process. This session originated the plan for Making Legendary and was another site that led to micro production methods. We sat on the couches at the 5E Gallery one Sunday afternoon with notebooks and pencils in hand, storyboarding the aesthetics and sites where we would shoot the video. With no budget or resources and time was limited, we knew that we were going to use the 5E Gallery as a home base. It would be the site of costume changes, conversations about scene changes, and audio adjustments. We chose shooting locations within a few miles of the building. Our goal was to select spots that both reflected the larger narrative of Neek and Mahogany's verses and were aesthetically compelling. Another micro method was in play. We had to agree on the aesthetics of place, sound possibilities, and movement. We wanted one scene to communicate abandonment, so we chose a closed community center. Its pool looked like a cesspool, more than a place where children once played. This part was less than a mile from 5E, across the street from Wayne State University, at the corner of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and Cass Avenue. There is a large, bright, multicultural mural that reads, "Live." Given its uplifting aesthetics and message, we thought it was ideal. Piper suggested another mural of a beautiful young Black girl and two children laughing and swaying on a homemade tire swing around the corner on 2nd Street. The yard in which we shot this mural was private property. Chickens rummaged around as Piper captured the women rapping their verses. Contrasting abandonment with growth, we decided on a local urban farm for our third location. We went west just beyond the Lodge Freeway and shot Spirit Farm. Piper shot the video while we took on the role of production assistants, managing audio, providing feedback on wardrobe changes, and diffusing tensions when we had timing issues. In the editing process, Piper interspersed historical and contemporary footage of people resisting redlining practices, emergency management, and air quality. Along our path of production, we asked, how does music video storytelling broaden the scope of debates centered on environmental health? We also shot driving scenes in Neek's Jeep Patriot to use as transitions between locations. The juxtaposition of sustainable urban farms and large oil reliant vehicles reflects the contradictions of living in a city where buses are the only form of mass transit and riders commonly wait for hours for service. The Motor City stake in people's heavy reliance on automobiles is not just a rhetorical jingle. With Crims in mind, we interpret the city's transportation infrastructure as a design intensive construct which leaves out those who quite literally cannot afford to buy into the system. The issues that Legendary raises are especially important for Black women because the concerns of people of color are often overshadowed in environmental and social justice debates. As Rose Gray points out in her review of Red, Black, and Green and Blues, a RBGB, a hybrid theater piece that explores significant roadblocks to Black environmentalism. Environmentalism is often considered a privileged white concern. Legendary demonstrates Black women's political agency and publicizes their commentary about the conditions in which they live. While the video does not showcase literal imagery of smokestacks polluting the air, declining water tables, or other explicit signifiers of environmental catastrophe, it does illustrate the effects of abandoned land, desolated neighborhoods, and concrete eyesores. In Detroit, Black women have taken the lead on environmental action, and they are often in leadership positions as social justice organizations working tirelessly for change. In our time with the foundation, we witness the impacts of well-known figures in the city, like water warriors Mama Lila Kabil, and rest in peace to Mama Lila Kabil. She worked with Rosa Parks for 50 years. And rest in peace also to Mama Charity Hicks, another water warrior. So, especially their imaginations of the wage love ethic of care. I told you before that wage love is a cry that Mama Charity, um, put forth when they asked her, like, what is it that you think we need to do? And she said, we need to wage love. Both women are founding members of the People's Water Board, a grassroots organization that advocates for access, protection, and conservation of water. Seeing water as the essence of life, the board succeeded in resisting city sponsored water shutoffs. Their efforts reached the United Nations, which declared water a human right and took a formal position against shutoffs. Kabil and Hicks were deeply involved with struggles unfolding in Detroit around not only water, but also air, land, and education. Kabil was the president of the Rosa and Raymond Parks Institute, while Hicks was the political director for East Michigan Environmental Action Council. So Mama Charity, I tell this story all the time. She was murdered, and she was murdered um, en route to have a meeting. She was a whistleblower for the Flint and Detroit water crisis, and she was at the bus stop. She had just arrived at Penn Station. She was at the bus stop headed towards the United Nations when she was struck by a car. We found out later is a son of this white officer. But they didn't kill the movement. You know what I'm saying? So long live the water warriors. But she was murdered after she was hit by in New York City on her way to fight for that and have the both water crisis declared a human rights violation, which eventually has been done. And Mama Kabil, rest in peace. She died. Mama Lila passed away in well, technically it was the end of 2018, but they have 2019 here, but it was end of 2018. And she was an elder. She was one of my mentors. Both Charity and Mama Lila were my mentors in the water warrior fights and the environmental justice fights and racial equity, gender justice, and all the things. And so I'm glad that they are in our book because they were very much a part of the work that we were doing, like to resist. Yeah, what was going on. So yeah, like I said, Mama Lila worked with Rosa Parks for like 50 years. So she was, and Mama Charity and Mama Lila were known globally for doing this work. Thank you, Pamela. So they're very, very deeply missed, So these women move people into action, educated with a fierce kind of love, and spread the word about environmental issues from Black women's standpoints as they invested in community organizing. They earned the title Mama because of their deep commitment to community, their respect for elders, and their relentless loyalty to African culture. Through their labor, and now Mama Pipers, we illuminate the aesthetic and political work coursing through hip hop artistic production, underscored by cultural organizing principles. The women making hip hop in this project work within Detroit's underground. Their music imagery and effect reimagine environmental raptures, urban beauty, and the possibilities for sustainability. Um, so, familiar with the layout of the cast corridor and its adjacent neighbors, Piper scouted shoot locations in advance. While planning is not improvisation, the day of the shoot required multiple forms of moment by moment invention. Neek and Mahogany both arrived at the 5E Gallery early, sporting suitcases full of outfits and shoes. Between different location shoots, we went back to the gallery for consultations about fashion choices and wardrobe changes. Color had to be function like connective tissue that articulated verses to visuals, volume to veracity. Our retreats to the gallery were akin to going back to the lab again. Working as production assistants in charge of audio while Piper shot the video, we had to react in motion as the MCs meandered through space, dropping their verses, staying out of the camera's view, but close enough so that the MCs could hear the instrumental being blasted from the consumer grade iPod dock with speakers. Oh, by the way, um, well, she was technically killed by the son of a police person, but essentially. Um, and yeah, so the 5E Gallery was the name of my space that I was telling you that I was violently gentrified out of. Space and conditions in the city organically fit with Legendary's beats and rhymes. At the abandoned community center, Mahogany and Neat jumped off the ledge of the empty pool, materialized the refrain's call to action when they rap, "Doves cry, but we gonna jump up off the ledge and fly, 'cause real legends never die." This unplanned move captures the very spirit of freestyling. We learned that practices that materialize on the fly create a flavor of literacy that is not expected. Improvisation becomes a layer of hip hop texture once it is transformed into micro methods. We completed the project by the conference deadline and were pleased to have been selected. All of us, Neek, Mahogany, Piper, Becca, and Kelly, caravan to Pittsburgh. Traveling with them was an education in itself. It was in car rides to Pittsburgh, Columbus, and flights to New York that we learned the ins and outs of rap music, how to rap on beat, and why rap follows a 16-bar verse. When we were brainstorming the video's production, Neek had just purchased her new Jeep. When she told us about her new whip, Rebecca was confused and asked, "What's a whip?" Neek laughed as she explained that a whip is a car. Our hip hop lexicon grew. At the conference, we set up our video in the listening room, and the artist rapped over it during our panel presentation. We contributed the scholarly portion of our presentation, and all five of us took questions from the audience after the other presenters completed their presentations. This was a rare moment at a musicology conference where Black women had the opportunity to share their aesthetic interpretations of their city using gritty beats and rhymes. In an interview that listening room organizer Mark Peddlety conducted with us at the conference, Mahogany described the track's beat as blue collar grinding, with this pulse in it that feels hopeful. Neek added, "There's a certain spirit in instrumental tracks that pulls out certain things. This is revolutionary, and we are revolutionaries, so we're going to tell you how we feel." The beats and larger messages within Legendary harken back to a time in hip hop when the vocal command of women was more openly political. The first verse, written and performed by Mahogany Jones, is ripe with historical references to racial injustice. "Socialized to be confined, show me how to redesign constructs created and traps baited for my demise. I despise the lies I spy with my mind's eye. Like why crime so high but graduates so low? Why my taxes so high? Response time is slow. don't care about my welfare, don't care about my health care, don't care about my whereabouts as long as I'm sane elsewhere. Where, why, when, how did we get to the place where we are now? Years of being pushed to the edge, mess around, we're going to jump off the ledge of reason. Odds of getting even increase in summer seasons. In 67, we rioted when we weren't invited in. We were kept divided when we applied for loans, denied to move into homes we could own unless we cloned a certain tone of skin akin to those zip codes, bulldoze more than our businesses, flatten all of our images of paradise in valleys. We live trapped in division when rules and regulations are racially motivated to ensure certain populations they stay uneducated. The words, the constructs created can be linked to what George Lipschitz calls possessive investment in whiteness. He tracks the materiality of white privilege in the form of housing policies and unequal access of loans that kept whites and blacks divided in urban centers and suburban white flight expansion. Many of Detroit's housing developments from the 1920s through the 60s had covenants attached to them, stipulating that white only residents could purchase property or rent. The history of whiteness has reproduced itself in contemporary Detroit. This verse also speaks to contemporary life where taxes are high, but social services, police, emergency medical response time is slow. The structures have not radically changed from the 1940s when housing developments were legally zoned to separate whites from blacks, and the police were perceived as a threat to black populations rather than a source of safety. The feeling that no one cares about my whereabouts as long as I'm sent elsewhere conveys the sentiments of abandonment. These lines communicate the invisibility that Detroiters feel. Too often their voices and real living conditions are lost in populations that govern them. Mahogany also catalogs the uninvited rebellion of 1967 in her words. It took a bloody uprising to change the course of history in Detroit, and still the city has not recovered. The improvements that followed did not come from liberal reform. Much of the progressive change has emerged from local communities and activist organizations, including the Foundation, Detroit Summer, and the Boggs Center. The Paradise Valley that she references was an entertainment zone, home to jazz and blues clubs, salons, soul food restaurants, and churches in the Black Bottom district. The neighborhood was home to the city's African American entrepreneurial class. This thriving Black community was decimated in 1964 so that a freeway could be built in its place. Mahogany bemoans this destruction and calls into question the iconic imagery that was also lost. The hook provides a sense of optimism. Doves cry, but we're going to jump off the ledge and fly because real legends never die. In our interview with Mark Peddlety, Mahogany commented on the importance of perseverance amidst the industrial decline in Detroit. Yes, it hurts. Yes, we cry, but real legends never die. Legends live on. Our city lives on. Women, we do great things. We live on with the work that we do, whether celebrated or not celebrated. When the foundation responded to questions on the AMS panel, she elaborated, Detroit is like a bad marriage. In the course of the relationship, the wife becomes sick. Instead of helping, the husband simply leaves. Mahogany brings home the point that the regeneration and investment that is happening is missing the local population of Detroit and Black and brown Detroiters. In the second verse, Neek Love Road sees unusual hope coming from unloved places. Black girl, broken city, pretty woman, beauty in the gritty. Detroit beings see the juxtapose and the flow. When you from this town, you see many things grow from the concrete when it ain't supposed to happen. And I'm talking real life. I ain't talking about rapping. See the headlines? We are disenfranchised. But when we got lemons, what we do, we make that lemon pie. And that's why I walk with my head high, because it's twice as hard as a chick, but I get by and stay fly. People study the ruins, got the whole world watching, seeing what we are doing and how we build, how we lay the foundation. It comes naturally to birth self-motivation. It's our DNA to give birth to pure greatness. Even when marginalized, you can't strip strength that comes from pride, like you can't take Black out of beauty or real out of who we of out of or real out of who we are, because the soul goes far and the spirit never dies. So when you see Detroit women, please recognize. So anyway, I'll kind of probably like end it there, but because it kind of goes on and on and on to the break of dawn. But long story short, we talk about like reclamation and agency, um and yeah, anyway, that's a little bit from the book, Women Rapping Revolution. And they said hip hop and community building in Detroit. And yeah, I mean, it's a, um, it reminds me, of everything we went through, just to like read it again. And so, yeah, we went through a lot, yo. We went through a whole lot, but it's our I guess it's a commentary on like our life and what we went through to build this women in hip hop movement here. Um, and it chronicles almost a decade. Um, and things we're still fighting, right? Like we're still in this fight. Myself, like I said, I'm more deeper into the environmental justice work, if you will. And we just did our event. I'm the rapper, she's the DJ, and it was really, really good. And it's an annual event we do with Detroit is Different. Shouts out to Kari and all the MCs and everybody, DJs, every dancers, everybody that participated. We'll do it again. And again, like I said, this came out of doing, just a need. It was a no misogyny open mic because we just needed a space. It evolved into us seeing how we can make the space better and safer, which evolved into us connecting, which became a group of women that connected and supported one another, which then morphed into, um, you know, uh, an organization that now supports women. And so now we have the record label and yeah, production company. We're producing events. We'll be doing a women in hip hop retreat. We're gonna bring. I had halted all events between the 2020 to now because I was like wasn't knowing what's going on. But 2024, we're gonna bring things back. We're gonna bring back the retreat. We're gonna bring back the annual showcase, and we're gonna be bringing you another like discovery sort of event for artists to get discovered. Um, and we'll bring more music because we're the record label. Doing a mixtape. I have the mixtape. If y'all want to listen to women, I got 3 volumes of a mixtape that are on SoundCloud. Um, and I'll post the links. But if you go on SoundCloud, look up We Found Hip Hop. We have 3 volumes of our mixtape of women in hip hop. And next year, I'm gonna put out my first volume I've been wanting to do forever, but now I found some great music producers. So we'll have all women music producers. So we're gonna put out a beat tape and a mixtape. We'll go back to the mixtape. So it's not just for Detroiters. It is for people who identify as woman and femme. So it is for people who identify as woman and femme. It's not just for Detroiters. I have a mixtape. So we're putting that mixtape out, and we're putting out the beat tape. So if people who identify as women and femme, and they got some fire beats and got some fire music, and they own it, they gotta own their music. They have to own their music. Yeah, and we'll put it out. I have that. I also have a series of mothers in hip hop. So I have a playlist on. Have a playlist on Spotify, and I have a playlist on I got a playlist on Spotify, and the Spotify playlist, and YouTube. I've got a Spotify playlist and a YouTube playlist, and it's mothers in hip hop. So it's people who identify as being a mother that rap and do hip hop. So I have a whole playlist of that, and I have a Muslima um playlist as well. So folks who identify as being Muslima, I have a whole playlist for Muslima hip hop artists. So gonna do another mothers in hip hop mixtape playlist as well. I'm gonna do another Muslima mixtape as well, and then thinking of some other, more ideas about who else is overlooked. So yeah, the women music producers doing a mixtape for that, and then Aisha's going back in the studio, so she's gonna have another instrumental project. It's gonna be available on vinyl. Yeah, so check We Found Hip Hop. Between now and January, I'm gonna be redoing all my websites. So, but for now, go to We Found Hip Hop website if you want to stay connected, or hit me up on Instagram for We Found Hip Hop. That's for all the women in hip hop stuff. If you just want to talk to me, it's Piper Carter, or it's pipercarter.com. Or if you want to talk about hip hop, We Found Hip Hop at Gmail, or We Found Hip Hop on Instagram, We Found Hip Hop on TikTok. That's the only TikTok I have is for the hip hop. I don't know if I'd be able to be on there myself twerking and stuff. Not really my style. But if I find people that want to twerk, I'm not mad at you. But right now I'm just doing that. So if you know of, please send me women, you like their music, you like what they're talking about, you think they're great, please send it to me, because in the process now working on all that. Redoing the website, like I said, I do all this myself. I do all my websites myself, not because I think I'm so this or that, but because it's just this is what I can afford in this moment. That's my budget. It fits my budget. So yeah. What else? I mean, so, and that's what it is, right? When you're independent, and everyone always gets on me like, why do you do everything yourself? Because things cost money, and I want to be fair to people, and I don't really have the money to pay people what they deserve for the things that they do. So I do it myself. And when I get money, I do pay people. You know what I'm saying? When I get money, I kick people off. That's a whole nother conversation that I want to have about paying people fairly. In being an independent business and paying people fairly, that's a very important thing. So with that, this has been Beyond Breaking Barriers. I went way over the time that I wanted to go. I only wanted to do 90 minutes, but we done 2 hours up in here. So y'all stayed with me. So I appreciate y'all. I want to give lots of shout out. Yes, Jen Dog, Quaker Anarchist, Truth and Hip Hop, Yama, Yipper 99, Pamela Jones, KJS Akuma, Poncho was in here. Who else was in here? Let me go back. Amen, Kenu Batu, Amen, Duchess. Let's see who else was in here. Mara, Corey. Who else was here? Oh, the Gemon, Anthony. Who else was in here today? Sweary. A lot of people was in here. SP. Y'all was in here this evening, huh? Julie, Henry. All right. So just wanted to make sure I went back and said peace to everybody. Lots of love to y'all. Appreciate y'all. So every Monday, 8 p.m., I'll be here, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll be here talking about women in hip hop. Also, remember, November the 9th, with Jared Ball at 12 noon Eastern. I'll make sure he puts up a link or something, but going to be on Black Power Media 12 noon. Just remember, Black Power Media 12 noon, November the 9th. I'm going to be being interviewed by Dr. Jared Ball. You go to the description, you can see all how you connect with me. Remember, going to Patreon for Black Power Media. Also, remember, I have my own show tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Detroit is Different Podcast Network, and 8 p.m. Eastern. That's the Piper Carter podcast. We talk about environmental justice. On this podcast, Beyond Breaking Barriers, we talk about women in hip hop. And I think next week we'll do the 6th. I'll wrap it up with the conclusion next week of Women Rappin Revolution. But get your book. It's available on University of California Press website. And I put the link in the description. And I just appreciate all y'all for showing up, and everybody that's been showing up, consistently. Much love to you. Appreciate you. And yeah, just y'all have a great week. I think it's a Thursday. Yep, it's a Thursday. Yep, you're right. So, put in your calendar. And tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And connect with me and let me know, if you want me to discuss certain MC. Like I said, those students told me that they was gonna that we talked to said they're gonna buy me the ticket to see um No Name. So I hope that happens, and then talk to y'all about No Name. And yeah, just working to grow the platform. So let folks know, and want to continue to have these conversations, because I feel like, for me, I care less about the conversation about why aren't there more hip hop and women in hip hop, or why they don't have their clothes on, or why they twerking, or why they twerk. I don't care about that conversation. The conversation I want to have is, here's a bunch of women that have music. How do we get them more visible? How do we get them some more? And how do we like better, make sure to support the music that we do love, right? And so that people can pay their bills, send their kids to college, or buy a house, whatever they need to do. And also, too, remember, we said we want to try to figure out how to do these Black Power Media meetups. So but I would say we should start by region. Like, if somebody wants to host, if somebody wants to host one in your region and be like, yo, we're gonna meet up for Black Power Media, I think that'd be cool. But I'm down to do one in the Midwest. I'm even down to go to the East Coast, or even talk to the people in ATL. That's not too far to drive to. So we'll see. We'll see. But I appreciate y'all. Y'all enjoy the rest of your week. I hope everyone is going to be back in full optimal health and happiness. And just sending y'all lots of good vibrations for the rest to coast y'all through the rest of y'all week. All right. Peace.